Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact Blessing the Airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's the biggest show in the world. I am the Dream. I'm here with my boy Dr. Dan, and also the Mad Hatter is in the house. We'll talk about a little bit of the playoffs that we got going on. A lot of controversy last night. Let's jump right on into it, y'all. What's going on, fellas?
What's up, Dream? Good morning to you, and good morning to you, Dr. Dan. How you feeling today, brother?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. You know, some heavy drinking yesterday after the kids' birthday parties, but, you know, we're pulling it together to get live. It's playoff time.
Some heavy drinking after the kids' birthday parties. Well, happy birthday to your daughter.
Oh, no, not my kids' actual birthdays. They, you know, they got all their friends. You got to drive them around all these places.
Oh, I got it. All right.
Yeah. No. So, yeah, no, they're not twins. But, no, yeah, they each had a friend in their class that had a birthday party in different spots. Of course, both like 40 minutes away, you know. So my wife and I are just like, well, I guess we're each splitting that up, you know.
Got it.
So,
Dream, how'd your day go yesterday in the snowstorm?
I made out good. I didn't leave the house. We were home all day. There was no reason for me to leave the house. It's my weekend with the kids anyway, so it just like was no big deal. They, of course, drove me crazy, wanted to go inside and out. Got down with mad sports yesterday. Got involved with a little bit of college basketball. I talked about it at the very end of the show before we got off. Crichton went in and did their thing to Providence. That worked out for me, which was nice.
Yep.
I also had a couple of nice spots with hockey. We got the New Jersey Devils. Fading the Devils has been very profitable this season, as was again last night. And then San Jose won to save the day because the day was dope. Opened up with a great win against Crichton. You know, got the Devils to lose. You know, Houston handles their business like they're supposed to.
Right.
And then, boom. The dagger to almost ruin the day. But thank God San Jose saved the evening for me. And I don't know if you guys are ready to get into the recap of yesterday's game.
Oh, absolutely.
As far as the NFL is concerned.
Absolutely, Dream. Well, let's have a conversation because you know what? I was watching this game unfold, and we talked about it on the show, and I'm just so mad at myself. We should have just loaded up on the Houston Texans. You know what? Number one, you have obviously the good defense. Number two, you have Connor Cook making his first start in the NFL, who I can't even believe he's in the NFL. And, I mean, he was not even a good quarterback at Michigan State. So, oh, man, it was just such the play.
winningest quarterback at Michigan State of all time.
What's that?
He was the winningest quarterback of all time in Michigan State.
You got to talk about the defense with that. Their defense was great.
Yeah, but, you know.
He came back from some big deficits, though. You know what? It's funny you talk about that. I was watching that yesterday, and I'm like, damn, this dude he wasn't really that bad in college.
And here's the thing. I mean, you lose. No Donald Penn was probably the biggest thing there, right? I know they got back the other O-linemen, but they're still banged up. But when with Penn out of the game, I mean, forget having Connor Cook back there. You know, you would have been hard pressed. Derek Carr would have been hard pressed to be getting the ball off, and I think obviously he would have done much better. But they also, you know, that playbook was so contracted because if you heard, he didn't even get scout team reps. Derek Carr always took all the first team reps, so McGloin took the scout team reps. You got a dude out there not even taking reps. So
yeah,
he didn't know the protections. He didn't know the audibles. You know, his best spot once again was when they went no huddle. If they hadn't gone no huddle, I don't even know if Houston would have scored. I mean,
he was so good. He was real good in the no huddle. But come on, there's one thing we got to talk about too: all the drops.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you had some horrible drop balls from what are supposed to be money receivers that, you're talking about 3rd and 8s where Crabtree's letting balls bounce off his hands. And I know he got injured and left. Amari Cooper, same thing, not holding on the balls. I don't know, man. I mean, he got no love out there from the O-line or his receivers.
Yeah.
And not only the drops, but when you talk about the drops, that again goes back to what you meant with not getting enough reps with the team. The receivers not really being in rhythm with your quarterback. That's an issue. I mean, that's an issue. I don't think we pay enough attention to that sometimes. But, if you're a left-handed thrower as opposed to a right-handed thrower, the way you hold the ball as opposed to the way I hold the ball, the different spin on it, it all is involved in that mechanics of that relationship with that receiver, with that quarterback. And balls that are usually 100% most of the time caught can end up being dropped just because, you're not used to dealing with this guy. You know what I'm saying? And I think a little bit of that.
I definitely hear you. But I guess in my opinion, I'm not saying this is like a 4th receiver. I'm saying if Amari Cooper or Michael Crabtree, even if the route's a second off or whatever, if that ball hits you in the numbers or the hands, you got to hold on to it.
Yeah,
That's
especially when you're a professional athlete. You got to catch
and Michael
the ball.
Crabtree, I'm telling you, first of all, I talked about being amazed with him this season because he was a Niner receiver, so I'm familiar with them.
Yep.
And, familiar with his college career as well. Because to me, I don't know if you all remember this, when Crabtree came out of college, he was as highly touted as Dez Bryant was. It was like Dez and it was like Crabtree. As far as I was concerned, Crabtree never lived up to his billing.
I mean, he had a really dope year. As the number 2.
That's what I'm saying. And that's what I was getting to. Then he goes to Oakland, and it seemed like finally he's living up to some of the hype that he was supposed to live up into college. But then, like you said, Dan, you get Carr out of the game, and you put him in this situation where, like you said, they're depending on those guys now even more than ever to catch balls. And when the money was down on it to do it, they just didn't show up.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, but here's the thing, and you can call me crazy here, and I'll take the heat. But here's where there's a little bit of a comparison to Dez Bryant with him, is that when good quarterbacks play for them, right, they will make things happen. But they can't, there are game-changing receivers that you see out there, that even if the quarterback's bad, they'll find a way to, break a 10-yard slant for a touchdown or whatever, right? That's not Michael Crabtree. I don't think that's Dez Bryant either, honestly. But, I hear what you're saying. I think both of those guys should have performed better, and I understand that they were banged up going into the game. But, again, like Hatter said, professional athletes, you just got to hold on to the ball.
Got to hold on to the ball.
Jack Del Rizzo, son, I'm done with him. I'm done with him, and because what was the preparation? What did you do different? What was differently done with your team to prepare them for Houston? Because I saw absolutely nothing different implemented.
I agree with you.
It was like in this situation, and this is why you get paid money as a head coach. They know 2 weeks ago that they knew they were going to the playoffs. They didn't know who they were playing, but they knew they were going to the playoffs, and they knew they had lost Derek Carr. So my thing is, this is right now, the coaching staff has to get together as a cohesive unit. And you have to figure out your quarterback's, the new quarterback's strengths and his weaknesses, and then you implement something to fit around him.
Yeah, but remember, it was supposed to be McGloin. And I know I don't think any team ever really counts on having to go to their number 3. And remember, they had said all along that this was basically a red shirt year, for him. So I think if, McGloin at least knew the playbook and got reps. Like, you're talking about a kid that didn't even get reps because of the rules in the CBA or whatever. You only have a set amount of practice time. This is a dude that might be throwing balls to a receivers coach on the weekend.
Yeah, he's
I just don't feel that I adequately saw enough of a presence. And I've been on the NFL coaching staffs for most teams. That's been a reoccurring theme for me. I just think a lot of coaching is very, very overrated in the NFL, and a lot of these guys are getting paid enormous amounts of money, and are just not living up to what they're supposed to be doing.
No, I hear you. My one thing though, Dream, is, and there's only one coach out there that I've ever seen lose his starting quarterback and actually really excel, and that was Belichick.
And that's what I was just getting ready to say. If Belichick had been the coach, don't you think that they would have at least scored more than they would have looked better than they looked at?
I honestly don't know, because it's not just the quarterback. Remember, the offensive line was crap. I mean, it was terrible. The receive. I mean, there was just a full offensive breakdown. I mean, maybe what Belichick would have done would have been go to the no huddle earlier. Yep. You know, because I feel like when the quarterback didn't have time to think, when he just had to go out there and play and rely on instincts, he was playing better.
Got it.
You know what? My other thing too, the other thing about that game too is, Houston wasn't dazzling either. That was the part
they're
that was
get murdered next week.
It was like, if you could have mustered up any type of offense, the game would have been, who knows? Because Houston. Let me tell you something. Don't be running around beating your chest proud about that one.
No. Right on. Exactly. And you got a team, I mean, listen, with the absence of Derek Carr out there, it's almost like the Colts losing Andrew Luck, or it's just the quarterback position is, they rely on that so heavily. It's just like, without it, especially with Connor Cook at the helm, they just were lifeless out there.
I mean, quarterback and left tackle. Basically your two most important positions.
Exactly. All right. So moving on here, we've got and guys, I apologize about my voice. I'm trying to get better here. I'm still sick. But let's talk about the Seattle Seahawks and their dominance of the Detroit Lions. Dan, which side were you on there?
I was on the Lions plus the 8 points.
You were?
I was. I do not like this Seattle team, but I underestimated the stupidity of Jim Caldwell.
Yes.
You want to talk about poor coaching. I mean, just that fourth down play, I know everybody's discussing it like crazy, but you don't even have Zenner out there.
Yeah. Not
even on the field. So, obviously, what are you doing? And the thing is Zenner can also catch the ball out of the backfield. I mean, just that was a bad play, and I mean, it just seemed like they, completely collapsed as a team. Obviously, in the third and fourth quarter, they talk about this offensive coordinator like he's the next golden child. Did nothing to impress me there.
Dream, what's your thoughts on Seattle blowing the doors off of Detroit?
The thoughts are, and the thoughts are dusty. Because, look, Seattle to me, and Seattle's another team. Okay, you won. You want to beat your chest about that win? Cool. But here's the deal. First of all, as bad as Detroit played, they were still somewhat alive in this awful game. And by the way, everybody who said that the Houston-Oakland game was so bad, Seattle-Detroit wasn't that incredible.
Oh, they were both garbage.
Either. All right, so now here we go. Detroit drop balls were ridiculous for me. Golden Tate on the opening drive, dropping a pure first down right in his hands. I'm like, dude, what's wrong with you? You know what I mean? And with all that trash he's talked, and knowing Seattle playing this old team, really expected him to step up and kind of have a better game than he did. Matthew Stafford
dropped the touchdown pass.
That's where I'm going next. Oh. Matthew Stafford, in some of his decision making, I loved his decision making, but it was like his guys weren't there. His offensive line gave him plenty of time. Okay, like you said, Dan, some of the play calling and some of the coaches' moves by this team were atrocious. But last but not least, the refereeing of this game. And Seattle Seahawks, what they seem to have, this charm crap that they got with the refs. From going back to winning that game against Green Bay on the Golden Tate, catching the end zone that should have never went down, to the safety they got in the end zone a couple years ago. I mean, every time you turn around with this Seattle team, the refs have gotten involved and absolutely helped this team out. You get the touchdown in the end zone, it's a pure face mask that the refs say, hey, we made a bad call, we messed up on that. Okay, well, so can I call the book today and say, hey, throw my money back on the account, because technically the refs just admitted they made a bad call. So that's 7 points that shouldn't be on the board.
Yep.
All right? That's a bad call to me. The next bad call, the uncatchable pass interference.
Oh, that was, oh my God.
Dude,
He's arm hooking him the whole way down the field.
So my thing is, when have we seen it big? I've seen ridiculously uncatchable balls that they still call pass interference on.
Oh my God! No, 100%, 100%. And he tugs him 5 yards before the ball hits. There's no way that he's not getting under that ball without pass interference.
My man's hands, he's in like arm's length of the ball, and they say uncatchable.
I mean, at a minimum, it's got to be holding. At a minimum.
Whoa.
At a minimum. No, you're 100% right. It's almost like the refs are like scared to leave the building.
I don't know what it is. And the last call that bothered me, and I don't know about you guys, and I know that we've become accustomed to anytime you breathe on the quarterback, they call, there's a flag. But the call on on Russell Wilson, the last play that he gave, first there's two calls. There's one to call on Russell Wilson where the guy was coming behind him and trying to swat the ball, but he ended up getting him on his back. That I had a problem with that. I didn't think that was the right call in that spot. I thought it was fine, but I know how we protect the quarterbacks. The next thing is there's a sack on Matthew Stafford where one of the Seattle Seahawks has him by the shoulders and the other have him by the legs, like almost splitting him. They never threw a flag on it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but you know what? Either way, Dream, Seattle just murdered them.
No, but it wasn't like that though. Because think about it, the touchdown that should have never been.
Okay.
With the blatant face mask. Okay, so you're backing him up. You're talking about a field goal. That's a 6-6 game, and Seattle doesn't pull away really till the end of this game. I mean, I felt like that was the difference. You had a defensive battle, and then you basically have the offensive player trying to break the neck of the defender blatantly.
And my issue is that I've got 16.5. I had Detroit with 16.5 points.
I don't know why you just didn't money line Seattle.
You can blame Marvin Jones for that too, because I know there was defensive holding on that, but that ball bounced off his hands. You cannot get a better throw than that, and that was a gimme touchdown. I mean, that's like if you had Detroit in that game, you saw that ball in the air, you're standing up off your couch and you're like, all right, I mean, that was, and if you feel that way, you know that those offensive guys are like, really?
And Detroit needs to do some soul searching, because at the last 3 games of the season, I don't know what happened.
Right.
Other than I know Stafford's finger got injured, and okay, you might want to put a little bit on that. But Matthew Stafford and the velocity of the ball coming out of his hands, going to those receivers, I didn't see no issue. And by the way, can somebody tell me what the hell was Anquan Bolden doing yesterday?
Oh,
he's lost his mind. I mean, maybe it's, from being in the league, getting too many hits to the head, but I mean, just stupid. I mean, 15 yards, I'm going to steal, because the only smart thing that I think was Collinsworth said last night, and it's so true, is that you basically get like anywhere from 10 to 15 drives in a game. And anytime you commit, especially an offensive, like personal foul for 15 yards, basically kills the whole drive.
Pretty much. Exactly.
Well,
you know what, guys?
Dude's a vet. I mean, he's a veteran player.
I know.
Did you take Seattle player?
I took Seattle on the money line, Dream.
I'm saying to Bolden.
Yeah,
I wondered if Bolden had Seattle money line.
Oh my God, I know. And I had him on one of my fantasy teams too, and didn't perform all that well, as far as he's concerned. So anyway, guys, good morning to you. We are the SBTV Nation, and we are live right now, and looking forward to a big day of the NFL. Dream, so you had Detroit, so it's time to come back and make some money today. And that's the way we're going to do it.
Well, I still made money yesterday. I mean, I had I gave out right before we left, I gave out the Devils against the Devils, which was I forget who the Devils played yesterday, but whoever the Devils played yesterday, Edmonton.
Disfaded Devils.
Edmonton, San Jose was what saved the day. I mean, that play saved the day. So the hockey right now is at a premium.
Yes, exactly.
Thank God.
All right. Well, you know what, guys? It might be that time. Unless you got anything else. I don't know if you're going to be watching anything besides football today, because you got some really good games.
I'm not going to be watching anything besides football. The only other thing that I am interested in, there's a couple little spots on the ice that are interesting as far as this evening. At 5 o'clock, you got the Penguins playing the Lightning. I do like the Penguins, and I also like the Blackhawks on the Predators. But the Penguins is my game of choice. I don't know if I'm going to get down with the Blackhawks. Only 2 spots in hockey. I know there's some college hoop going on. I'm not getting involved in college hoop today, but there's a North Carolina versus North Carolina State game. That looks to be a pretty good game on at 1 o'clock. If you want to get maybe a little, but I mean, we'll be in the NFL by then, so I ain't even talking about that.
All right. How about you, Dan?
Nah, man.
Not at all.
No.
All right.
At all.
So you guys are getting ready for the NFL. And I think that's what we need to talk about right about now, guys. So let's move over to it and talk about the game that we got today in the AFC. And let's go right into it. It's a heavily juiced line. We've got the Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Miami Dolphins in Heinz Field. Pittsburgh is minus 12. Guys, I got a 12 here with an under over 45.5. Dream, you've been talking about this game for weeks. And I'd like to know what you got to say about it. I already have a feeling where you're going, but go for it.
Do you really? Is it any surprise where I'm going? I'm going to go to Dr. Dan. Dan, drum roll, please, Dan. Can I hear the words? Please say total annihilation, Dan. Give it to me.
Oh, I mean, that's all on you, sir. I think we might be on differing opinions here.
Oh, wow. 12 points.
I wanted to hear you say it because you say it with so much more intensity than I do.
Oh.
What did you say your number was for the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I got 12 here, brother.
I got 13.
13. Oh, my God.
And I got it all over the place because I have it down in some places to 11.5.
All right. Break it down, Dream.
Gang, listen, I love the Steelers. You know, the Miami Dolphins, first of all, for starters, I think the Dolphins are overrated, and I talked about them being overrated for the majority of the season. Second of all, their starting quarterback, which may or may not be the better quarterback, who knows, is out, and they're going to a backup. Now, I know he's played a couple of games, so he's not like technically a backup, but he's still a backup. Next thing you have is you have a few injuries with questionabilities on, Tony Lippett's questionable. Urbic's questionable. I'm sure these guys are probably going to play. Even Byron Maxwell's questionable. Some questionables on the defensive side of a defense that already has been struggling for the majority of the season. In come the Pittsburgh Steelers. As far as I'm concerned, one of the, if not top 5 offenses in the NFL, and maybe top 3, I should probably say. We know about how explosive they are. Ben Roethlisberger's off the chains. We know about his ability as a quarterback. Le'Veon Bell, an incredible running back, very patient running back. And then there's all kinds of weapons in the backfield as far as throwing the ball is concerned. Obviously, Brown is there. Sammy Coates is stepping up, and whatever guy Ben finds open seems to step up when need be. To me, the Pittsburgh Steelers have everything going for them as far as this game is concerned, and they are the dominant team. Pittsburgh also does not have a ton of injuries. They're a lot more healthy right now than the Miami Dolphins are going into this game as well. Miami Dolphins defense have shown an inability to stop the run against one of the best running backs in the game right now. That's a very tough matchup for them, I expect. If you pull guys down to stop the run, if you put guys to put them in the box, Pittsburgh can go over top. This, to me, spells disaster for the Miami Dolphins. I know a lot of you don't like the spreads, and I hear you. If you can tease it or you money line parlay it down, it's definitely the way to go. I love the Pittsburgh Steelers to win today.
All right, so I'm going to switch it over to Dan. Dan, what's your thoughts on this game today, brother?
I think the Dolphins cover this number.
Okay.
Anywhere from, I mean, I have it at plus 10.5, which I think is fine. If you get it, obviously, plus 13. If you see 13s, buy a point. Obviously, get yourself 2 touchdowns. These teams obviously played earlier in the season. I understand that Roethlisberger was knocked out of that game early on. And I just think that this is going to be a heavy dose of Le'Veon Bell against the worst run defense, obviously, left in the playoffs by far. So I kind of expect this game to be like a little weird. I think Pittsburgh will kind of dominate time of possession, but I still think the Dolphins will get their points and cover. But I still think Le'Veon Bell does have a big game. But I just think that the Dolphins are going to do some things offensively. And you know me, I like Matt Moore. I like him better than Tannehill, at least. I mean, I think that there's a connection there. In the games he's played, he hasn't looked too bad. And, the Steelers do not have a stereotypical world-beating defense here. So I like the over, and I also like the Dolphins plus 10.5.
All right, sounds good. Well, you know what, Dan? And both of you guys touched on the fact that the Miami Dolphins rush defense is pretty damn brutal, and it is the worst of the teams that are left in the NFL in the playoffs right now. When you look at it here, though, I do agree with you, Dan, on the fact that the Pittsburgh Steelers do not have the best defense in the world. I think they'll be supercharged for this game. I think they're going to win the game. However, I can see the Dolphins scoring on them, and I can see a possible over as well. So I'm right there with you. I think that the Dolphins, plus if I can get it to 13, I think is the move. I know that line has been climbing up. It started at 9, Dream, and it went all the way up to 13. So it looks like people are pounding Pittsburgh here. I just see, listen, you've had 2 favorites come out so far. One of these dogs is going to hit.
Well, the other thing, and I don't know how much you read into this, but, when you look sometimes at teams off the bye and they start a game sluggish, I know Steelers didn't have a bye, but they rested, all their top guys.
Sure.
In the last week. And again, I don't expect Miami to win this game, but I would not be surprised if the first quarter of this game is, if Pittsburgh doesn't, score points.
Miami rested all their top guys too on their last week.
You would have thought so. The way the Patriots
put
pissed on them. Exactly. And you know what?
Everybody got rested.
What's crazy about the Dolphins, too, is they actually have a minus 1.1 point differential, and they have a winning record, a 10-6 team, as I called they've been all year long. You know what? I like them plus the points, Dan. I'm with you on that. So, Dream, are you laying the number?
Killing me. You guys, you know what? You got to stop, Hat. Because Dan, I understand. Hat, you know better. All right?
Dream, are you laying the number?
I understand. But Hat, you know better.
Here's a question. Here's a question, though. Here's a question. Whose defense was better this year? The Bills or the Steelers?
Oh, that's a real good question. You mean are you talking yards per game?
I'm just talking about let's look at yards per game and points. I don't have those numbers up. I know you do.
All right, Pittsburgh was better. A touch.
Right. Okay.
The thing about the Steelers defense is to me, the Steelers is an emotional defense. And in this case, being home, in the playoffs, Tomlin, they're going to be up. They're so up for this game. I expect because at certain times, the Pittsburgh defense has surprised me with their ability to shut down other offenses. Because I've always thought Pittsburgh's Achilles heel was their defense. But there were spots this season when their defense showed up. And I think in this particular game, I think their defense is going to be up and ready to go. And not only that, but to me, Miami offensively just is not apt enough to do things that Pittsburgh can't make adjustments to.
All right. Well, you know what, Dream, where's your number? As far as
I'm money lining.
You're gonna money. How you gonna make any money with this? Are you crazy?
I'm money. Well, because I hooked it up with San Jose last night in frustration late night, so I got a money line.
All right. So they're minus 650 on the money line right now. So I don't know how much you're gonna make there. All right. Afraid of the points, Dream. The total annihilation, and you're afraid of the points.
And I need another spot because it's in with a couple of things, and it'll be plus by the time I'm done with it. But I do need another spot, and I'm glad that we're on the show because we can go right in. Are we ready to move on to the next one?
We are ready to move right on to the next one, and that is the New York Football Giants, who are 11-5, going into the frozen tundra, playing the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay minus 5.5. Under over of 44.5.
Frozen tundra's like home, baby.
It's
you guys think that? Wait, I just want to before we move forward. You guys like the over in the Pittsburgh game, right?
Yes,
I do.
And what do you got for number 46?
The over in that game is 45.5.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's talk about this game, Dan. It sounds like you're looking at the New York Football Giants today.
Cautiously optimistic. Cautiously optimistic.
Shocker.
All right, talk to me.
Shocker, you know.
Talk to me about
it's
this.
not like the Giants don't ever win in the playoffs in Lambeau Field, especially when it's freezing. I mean, they didn't have to go there for their last 2 Super Bowls or anything like that.
God damn, that was 6 years ago?
It doesn't matter. They still got the same guy that did it.
Yes.
They still got the same guy that did it.
Talk to me about Elijah Manning
the
today.
same one guy.
Talk to me about Elijah Manning, Dan.
I think, look, I don't think this game is really about Eli necessarily, even though I actually do think he has a good game. This is going to come down to the defense and what has been top 2 or 3 defensive unit over the last 2 months in the NFL and the Giants. And, look, you still have some injuries on the Packers O-line to Balaga. He's got that abdomen injury where even if he plays, I think that's a major mismatch. The Giants are going to be able to rush Rodgers, make him uncomfortable. And then look, the secondary's been doing it all year. I mean, Jenkins is healthy. Everything looks good to go, man. I feel confident about this game, especially offensively. If you look at where the Packers are weakest, it's the secondary, especially the right side. I think Eli's going to be able to have enough time to get the ball off. And I think you're going to be able to torch that unit.
Okay.
I think the Giants win the game on the field.
Giants win the game on the field. Giants score 19.4 points per game and give up 17.8, where the Packers are putting up 27 and giving up 24. Dream.
Yes.
Green Bay Packers or the New York Giants?
I am so torn with this game. Because unfortunately, I live, if you lived anywhere other than the East Coast, you probably wouldn't be that torn. But because I live in the East Coast, I get even a lot more extra rhetoric about the New York Giants than most everybody else has to listen to. And I have heard the ghost of previous years and, all the Giants in their playoff run, and Eli does it, and Eli's going to step up. But honestly, Eli has not he's not been a good quarterback this year. I mean, let's be factual now this season. I know it's the playoffs, and I know everybody wants to think that a new guy just comes out because it's the playoffs and he doesn't do it. But this season, Eli Manning has not been a good quarterback. The Giants, though, have lived off of their defense. All right, so let's first talk about that. Before we talk about their offense, let's talk about their defense. And I've been very impressed with what the Giants have defensively been able to do. The Green Bay Packers, however, with the momentum they've had in their last 7 games, you cannot get around that and the fact that they're at home. And what the Giants have been able to do has not been against a quarterback quite like Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers decided that in bad spots he's going to run the ball. I don't think that the Giants are going to be able to play contain and keep Aaron Rodgers in that pocket, which will get him outside the pocket and be able to get him to throw the ball down the field and find open targets on this field, as long as the Packers don't insist on trying to establish a run game. The Packers have to decide, listen, we're going to pass and we're going to run, like, just to keep it honest, but not really. We just are a passing team, and they need to just embrace that. As long as they do that, I think they're going to have a lot of success.
If they do that, the Giants will kill them. If they do that, the Giants will kill them.
Okay. I hear you.
You can't be one-dimensional. And I'll say, look, the guy that worries me actually about this game is Ty Montgomery, because he's kind of like a different type of back. He's like, I mean, obviously was a receiver most of the year. He's been looking pretty good. But if the Giants can shut down that run, and I think they have the number 1 best run defender in the game in Snacks. I mean, I don't think you can question that. And you make them one-dimensional, and then you have, Cromartie and Jenkins and Eli Apple, and don't forget about Landon Collins sitting back there. And the Giants are also very good. And Spags, if you want to give him credit, obviously the blitz packages, but the way that he can take away a guy out of your game. He can say, all right, Jordy, no, he's not doing it. So if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to beat them somewhere else. And I think Rodgers is going to be frustrated all game.
Interesting. Well, you know what, Dan? I mean,
I'm taking Green Bay.
You're taking Green Bay?
I'm taking Green Bay. I'm glad that just pushed me right over the edge to take Green Bay. I'm taking Green Bay.
Money line?
Because because the reason I'm going to take Green Bay is because I'm telling you that Green Bay just needs to embrace their passing team and pass the ball on the Giants. And I would not be surprised if Green Bay went no huddle, which I think would help them out against the Giants pass rush as well. I'm going to take Green Bay.
All right. I mean, the New York Giants are tied for number 3 as far as rush defense, tied with the Patriots. 88.6 yards on the ground they're allowing. So, you know what? The thing is that you do have a prolific passer in Aaron Rodgers. And I know that he is definitely capable of torching his defense as far as secondary is concerned. I like Green Bay with you, Dream. I think I'm going to get them on a money line situation and take the Green Bay Packers to beat the New York Football Giants.
You feel free to do that, guys, and you throw away those checks. You throw it away. I will put a bottle to each of you of Moet Imperial champagne.
What, on the money line, Dan?
On the money line, Giants.
Wow. All right, you're on.
The money line because I'm that confident. I'm that confident in this game.
All right, Dan, you're on. I'm looking forward to it.
And Dream, I'll give you another giant. I'm going to give you another giant. Hold on. You know who Eli's like? You know, he's kind of like it's like Madison Bumgarner, right? You look at him in the regular season, and he's got like a 3.4 ERA, and you're like, what is going on with Mad Bum? And then he gets into the playoffs, and all of a sudden he's throwing like no hitters.
Well, he's been more like Matt Harvey this year, Dan.
I'm not saying Eli hasn't had a terrible year.
It's been like
I'm not saying it's been a good year for Eli. Don't you know? You guys keep thinking I'm saying Eli's been like the savior of this team. I know it's all about the defense. But the other thing I think the Giants are going to be able to do is I think they win the turnover battle today. And the weather doesn't bother them. The weather has never bothered this team. You know, look, New York. What's the difference between, 8 degrees, right?
Yeah, I agree with that. Definitely. So Dream, you're on the Packers, I'm on the Packers, and I'm betting Dan a bottle of champagne.
I got it cold waiting for you, Hatter, if this goes down.
I'm looking forward to cracking the bubbly, Dan.
Crack the bubbles.
All right. So that is our breakdown of these two games today. And you know what? We got our fantasy football contest going on, guys, and my man G Rose is in the lead right now. But he's got
It's moving day, though.
It's moving day, right? All right. So sounds good. And Dream, you're doing pretty well. You've got 360 minutes left with 41 points. So you're looking pretty good. Looking pretty good so far. But, I plan on stomping you, as usual.
Golden Tate played me yesterday. I'm a little bit upset with him.
Golden Tate?
Everybody, it's like every week there's a receiver that plays you. Like for me, it was Crabtree. For Hatter, which one was it for you? You had a receiver that played
Anquan Bolden.
Anquan.
Bolden played me bad yesterday.
Yeah.
So, all right, guys. So that's pretty much going to do it for us unless you got anything else up your sleeves.
Nothing else up my sleeve.
All right, sounds good. So let's get up out of here, guys. It is Sunday, and we are getting ready to rock as far as the NFL playoffs are concerned. So, Dream, what do you got here, man? Recap your stuff.
Hey, I want to thank everybody that retweeted the show. Cash Action Bets, Terrence Mack, JP, Andy Jones, Joseph Del Rosario, Snoopy Bets, Shy Pigs, Vegas Jack, Vegas Girl, 92661, Bang the Book, Terry Bouchard, Woots GG, also in the house. Scott Weaver, thank you for coming on the program. Oh, we didn't get Dan's thoughts on the national title game.
Alabama in a very close game.
Alabama in a very close game.
I'll put it on my DM groups how I'm gonna fix it up. I might do it with some NFL next week.
Jonesy's out there as well. Rick Lopez, good looking for you. Direct Sports Solutions, Shane Whitehead, Dwayne Yarborough, Jackie, Papa Smurf, we send him big ups, winning picks as well. Jeff Ryan, Jim Rome is a douche. Let's see, who else do I got here? Sorry, Sin City Maverick, De Niro, Joseph Del Rosario, G Rose, Tiger Clinch, and Terrence Mack, just to name a few. Gang, I'm the Dream. Always remember who you're with. Make the most of each and every day. And a recap for me, Moneyline Parlay is going to consist of Steelers, Packers.
So all the favorites are going to win.
All the favorites are going to win.
You got all the favorites moving on.
Got all the favorites moving on.
All right,
but
guys.
I got a money line. So the Steelers, you might win on the spread. The Steelers might only win by a field goal. And the Packers might only win by a field goal, too. So you might win on the spread. Well, I've got all the home team for the most part.
Oh, no. I'm just wondering when the last time all the favorites went on wild card Saturday and Sunday.
I think it was last year, as a matter of fact.
Was it? Cool.
All right, guys.
Well, best of luck to you, boys.
All right. We love you to death. Go out there. Go easy. Make all your dreams a damn reality and get that money. Let's go.
Peace.